So, I know this video is very late, specifically 1 week. Literally, we're 1 day away from the next few episodes of this show coming out, so I'm extremely sorry for the delay, but I'm here now reviewing episode 6, 7, and 8 of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. So, let me review each and every individual episode that we have gotten in this video, and give you my opinion on the things that go down in it. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, right off the bat, the first thing I want to point out is the sad note that we immediately pick up on in episode 6 of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, with Lonnie unfortunately getting kicked off of the football team due to his absence because of the gang he is in. So that was a really sad scene, but it was honestly inevitable because, like I said in previous reviews, this show is just going to chew up and spit Lonnie out and really treat him terribly, and that's going to lead to his downfall and his eventual villain arc that I feel like we're now journeying down as soon as he gets kicked off of the football team. So that was a kind of unfortunate scene that happened in the episode that I just had to point out, because honestly these bad things keep happening to Lonnie and I have to break it down because this is the stuff that will lead to him becoming a villain in the future. So now I want to talk about the next thing in this episode that really interested me, and that was Nico and Harry's interaction, because during the course of the episode, Peter invites not only Harry but also Nico to his apartment to hang out, watch movies, and play games and eat a bunch of junk, because Harry's father, Norman, is going on a business trip, like going to a business meeting, and of course that leads to Peter making a James Bond joke, but that definitely causes Harry to tag along with Peter and Nico. So honestly, it was perfect story-wise because it really gave us a chance to finally leave these two characters alone, so that way they could really forge their friendship and actually become good friends for the future of the show. So I felt like that was a little important. So the next major thing that happens in this episode is the appearance of Secretary Ross. Now, I was actually amazed to see him and very surprised, because honestly, when you think of Spider-Man, you never really think that General Ross had anything to do with that. Anything at all. Senator Ross is like a complete nobody when it comes to the story of Spider-Man. But they made him somebody in this episode, especially considering his interactions with Norman. So that was a cool little appearance that I really enjoyed. So now I want to talk about probably my favorite part of the episodes, and also my favorite part about the show in general so far, the appearance of Daredevil. So there is a breach in Oscorp's tower, and of course Spider-Man has to be put on the scene, leaving Harry and Nico by themselves. And of course, while they're by themselves, Harry thinks that Peter already told Nico that he was Spider-Man, so he ends up telling her that Peter is Spider-Man. But I'll save that major reveal for later in this review, but for right now, back to Daredevil. He goes to Oscorp Tower and everything's all suspicious and stuff, and then he obviously sees the man without fear on the rooftop of Oscorp Tower about to make an escape in a completely black and red suit, which is so cool to see. It is a really awesome suit. And another thing that I noticed is he's voiced by the actual actor of Daredevil, Charlie Cox. I honestly did not expect that. I expected a just unknown actor to just play this guy, but I'm really happy that they decided to put Charlie Cox as the voice of Daredevil for this. I mean, it does make sense, but honestly, I did unfortunately think that Charlie was not going to be involved with this, but thank God he was, because he did an amazing job voicing Daredevil in this. And even Spider-Man's fight with Daredevil is a really awesome and entertaining fight, but also in this fight, at the end, Spider-Man is told by Matt that Norman is hiding something from him. So of course, Peter, thinking that Norman is just this clean guy with no bad shit going behind closed doors, he obviously does not believe Daredevil and just completely plays it off for the next 3 episodes. But yeah, it was really awesome to see Charlie Cox as Daredevil in this show, and I really do hope that we'll get to see him in future episodes. But the last thing that really happens in this episode, besides one of the biggest things that happens in this episode, besides the Daredevil appearance that I will talk about at the end of episode 6's review segment, is, of course, getting back to the entire Nico and Harry thing. Well, now Nico is pissed at Peter because she thinks that Peter thought that it was too big of a secret for Nico. And that, of course, puts an end to their friendship for a little while. But yeah, it's a very emotional scene, but yet a very, very well done scene, and yeah, it just made for another enjoyable part in this overall enjoyable episode. The last thing that happens in this episode is the machine of Scorpion gets created, and that mob boss from the previous few episodes that fought the mob that was with Lonnie, the guy who led that second group becomes Scorpion, and honestly, it was inevitable because of the danger and psychopathic ability of that guy. Honestly, it was inevitable, so this was a very, very cool way to do it, and I'm excited to break down what happens and what he does in the next few episodes. So now with episode 6 out of the way, I want to move on to my thoughts with episode 7, so let's get into it. So the first real major thing that actually happens in episode 7 is the fact that Nico and Harry become friends again, because obviously at the secret of Peter being Spider-Man, that stopped them from being friends. So they quickly, of course, forgive each other and actually get into a car race with this random girl, and obviously they win and they become friends again. So that was the first major thing that actually happened within this episode. So the next major thing that happens, and is actually probably the last major thing that actually happens in this episode, because it's a very uneventful episode besides what I just mentioned, and of course the middle to the end of the episode, where of course when Lonnie is at his gang's base, his girlfriend comes and like is all shocked, getting into a fight with him because he's in a gang and stuff like that, and Scorpion comes in and starts effing up the group and actually kills one of them, and it is so shocking. So obviously Spider-Man comes to the rescue in a way and gets absolutely annihilated and destroyed by the Scorpion. Obviously he has his moments where he's beating the Scorpion's ass, but overall very shocking things happen, because towards the end of the episode, Spider-Man is effed up bad. He is thrown around and even is impaled by the Scorpion's tail, and by the end of the episode, it is a sight to see. It is terrible, man. He got his ass whooped. His suit is completely destroyed. The beautiful white suit that I really like, yeah, that suit is like destroyed now completely. So that was very, very shocking. But really, other than that, nothing really happened in this episode, and the more major events happen in the next one. But yeah, this final act was the biggest event that happened in these 3 episodes, I feel. But that is my thoughts on episode 7 now. It was a really good episode. So now it's time for episode 8. So first things first that is actually really major is we get to see the return for Doc Ock. And of course he's like basically a 14-year-old boy nowadays, like in their room in the dark on their computer. So yeah. And then of course the SWAT team comes in, tries to arrest him, and he basically is like Home Alone Kevin McAllister over here, destroying everybody with a bunch of setup traps. And eventually he gets caught outside by not only more SWAT teams, but Iron Man. We get to see Iron Man, not voiced by Robert Downey Jr., but still we get to see Iron Man, and that was very, very cool in itself. Yeah, that entire like sequence was really cool. So the next major thing that happened in this episode that was honestly inevitable is, of course, Lonnie unfortunately breaks up with his girlfriend Pearl. Now this was a very emotional scene, and honestly it's just another reason why Lonnie is gonna turn evil. Honestly, it's just bad card after bad card with this character. Now he's breaking up with his girlfriend. What's next? Possibly a death in his family? Like, life just keeps chewing him up and spitting him out. It's terrible, and I do feel bad for him, but we all know where this is headed. He's gonna become a villain. He is. I'm calling it right now. So now we've reached the end of episode 8, and the last major thing that happens in this episode is the reveal of the red and blue Spider-Man suit that we all know and love, and the reveal of it is so well done, and it comes at the very end of the episode, so it's a cliffhanger, and wow, what a way to leave the fans at the edge of their seat for what's to come next, because I cannot wait to see this on screen. I cannot wait. It was definitely the highlight of all 3 of these episodes. So now it's time for my final thoughts. Now this is not going to be a very long segment, but my final thoughts are, these are all 10 out of 10s. These are such perfect episodes, and honestly I cannot wait to see how the next few episodes of this show go. I'm not really sure if these next 2 to 3 episodes are the end, but if they are, I'm fine with that, because I'd rather this season go out on a high note than drag it past what it needs to be. But yeah, I'm just excited for the next few episodes, and those are just my final thoughts. See you guys on the next video.